Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Juniper Vale. Today I'm going to leave the World Cup behind for a little, do some political tarot, specifically on Taterhead. Um, I also wanted to thank everybody for getting me to 500 subscribers. That's pretty great. I very much appreciate it, and it's a lot of fun. So share with your friends. Remember to ask them to like and subscribe. If there's anything you want me to read on, please leave a comment. Um, this helps me to not only figure out what you want to hear, but it reminds me of certain things that come up. So it's very helpful and I appreciate it a lot. All right. So today I am doing Taterhead at the G7. We're going to see how that goes for him. He's going to be there for a few days and have meetings. I also kind of want to look at what his month is going to be like. And I want to show you the Hara Tarot. I got them from Etsy. They were like 70% off. So I was like, okay, let's give you a try. See how you look. Really cool deck. They have the red, shiny red edges. Very nice. I do rather like creepy things, so the cards themselves pretty cool. I like that kind of imagery. It's kind of scary, and I don't know why I like scary stuff like that. It's like imagery that is creepy and makes you kind of want to have nightmares. Maybe that's because I don't. If I have nightmares about something, it's not like things like this. Like that's not my nightmares. So. I guess I have nightmares about very different things. All right. So let me put this deck away. And who is it by? I don't know. You can go to craftcards.store. You can also go to Etsy. Probably also have it on Amazon. Hara Tarot. Comes with a little guidebook like usual. It's like the standard guidebook where a lot of decks they already have the standard guidebook and they can just change the colors to what their decks look like. They're good guidebooks, not bad. In case you use the guidebooks. Not everybody does. All right, so let's look at Taterhead will be at the G7. Today is Tuesday, June 16th. It is 3:30 Eastern time. He is in France now. Had some meetings Monday, supposed to have some meetings Tuesday and Wednesday. I want to know how the meetings will go for Taterhead. Like in his, let's see, will it go good for Taterhead? Will it go bad for Taterhead? Kind of a loaded question because what does good and bad mean for him, you know? Um, so how will the meetings go for Taterhead and the future of the United States? How about that? I'm gonna do. I guess I'm gonna pull like 4 or 5 cards. We'll see. I spent a lot of time shuffling these earlier because this is the first time I used the deck. And when I first did that shuffle, they cracked. I was like, that's pretty cool. They shuffle very easily. So if you're interested in the deck, it's a nice deck. I like it. All right. So how will the G7 go? The next show, how will it go for the United States and Taterhead? Let's do 4 cards first. So I have the 4 of Wands, the 10 of Pentacles, the 6 of Cups, and the King of Wands. There is one thing I want to mention about these decks. I don't know how they're made. I get a sense that they're more like a mass-produced kind of thing because even though I really like the imagery, there isn't a lot always done with the minor arcana cards as much. Major arcana cards usually look pretty great. Minor arcana cards, I almost feel like there could be more, but I still like the imagery, so it's pretty cool. So the 4 of Wands, right? Wands we're looking at enthusiasm, drive, also this masculine sort of energy going on Fours, we are talking more about planning, foundations, the creating foundations, security, stability. So it could be like there is something going on to make things a little bit more secure. Hopefully, the United States is being smart, I guess, about these meetings. Hopefully, we have the 10 of Pentacles, and the Pentacles are about business and money, and also about protection. And tens are that completion in the tarot. So it's an end of a cycle. It looks like an achievement to me when it comes to money. Um, I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about. It could be some talk of trade going on because of the pentacles. Um, so, excuse me. I think ooh, I inhaled some dust or something. So I think the 10 of Pentacles is showing that there's going to be a maybe when I look at the wands, I think of power in a way, enthusiasm. It's only a 4, so maybe the United States that isn't feeling very powerful, but their main focus is on the 10 of Pentacles. We then have the 6 of Cups. Cups are about relationships, intuition. So the sixes are about that social responsibility and caring and compassion. When it comes to the 6 of Cups, I think that's like a pretty good sign. Sixes are a little bit more calm. They're a bit more of a calm card. Uh, um, hmm. And let's see. I'm trying to think of how that all fits together. It's also in 4, 10, 6. Looking at the numbers, all even numbers. I almost feel like saying that it's actually gonna go pretty well. Like maybe, say, for example, Taterhead, his emotions are very even during this event, which would be very good for the United States because, in other times his emotions sort of seem all over the place. He posts some very strong words at times that are, you think to yourself, what crazy thing is he going to do now, right? Then we get the King of Wands. So I think Trump is going to leave feeling like he's in charge and that he made good deals. So I think it's going to go well for the United States. I asked for about the United States in general. I think Trump's going to come out of it usually saying he did all these great things. Had this feeling like there's a calmness. I don't know if I know Marco Rubio's with him. I I don't know if he's had some type of I don't want to say like a talking to, but he's kind of getting some guidance to just like go with the flow, take things easy, don't push. Um, because I think who's ever giving him guidance knows that the people at the G7 aren't going to put up with him. So I think he's kind of going in quiet. And because he goes in quiet, I think he is going to come to some good agreements that probably end up well for the United States because of these cards. But what's interesting is this is the first time I'm using this deck. I'm not getting as much out of the cards as I would like with this question, and I think it's to do with the imagery, but I'm still kind of thinking things through. What's very interesting about the 6 of Cups is that is like a large goblet that the stem is a tree. Trees are dead, but I think all the trees are going to be dead in this deck. That's just how the imagery is. The King of Wands, he looks half dead, like everything else in this deck, which also looks like Taterhead to me in a way. I mean, the guy doesn't exactly look like Taterhead, but there's this gauntness. He's looking down. Even if he does achieve some good things for the United States, it's like he's capitulating to people giving him advice. Like he's going to come back and say he did all these great things, but I don't think he's not really getting the things he wants. He wants to be bombastic and bully people and tell people what to do, but I don't think he's going to do that on this trip. I think he's being quiet, and that kind of doesn't make him happy. It's like grandpa's on a leash. Um, but I think that's better for the United States. So that's how I'm seeing it going through. Let's see. I want to know the other countries that take part in the G7. How are they feeling after this? So after meeting with Trump, after the G7 is over, how are the other countries feeling about the results of the meeting? This is a nice deck. I have to think about how I will use it. Because when you use the more traditional rider weight, there's a lot of imagery in the cards, and you're not always guaranteed that type of imagery from other decks that are not exactly like the rider weight. But that's what practice comes with, and just using the decks and seeing how they speak to you. Anyway. So how are the other leaders in G7? How do they feel? What are they coming back with after these meetings are done with? How do they feel they've gone? Four cards again. Got the Eight of Cups. Got the Moon card. The Ace of Wands. And the Two of Swords. So the Eight of Cups, it's a pretty good card. I mean, the Eight of Cups in traditional tarot means you're leaving something behind, but like we don't get any of that imagery here. So I will look at the book to see if there's any type of different meaning behind it. I don't think so. They usually don't. No, it's like walking away from situations, abandoning plans that can be disappointing, reaching your limit. Um, they're moving away from the situation. Maybe they're not as happy. Um, maybe they expected more bombacity from him. Oh, my cat just sat on the she just sat on the blanket I have up here and started pulling it down. No, no. What are you doing, lady? She's a good girl. She just didn't realize. So, yeah, so with the Eight of Cups, they're kind of moving away from this. They're kind of leaving it behind. Maybe they said some things to him that maybe they're not going to keep. I think they thought he would come in more crazy in a way. And since Taterhead did not, they didn't come away with everything that they wanted, or at least the kind of news that they wanted. The moon is a fun card. You know what? The moon is one of those cards that never really sticks out to me with a specific meaning, because I feel like it can mean so many different things depending upon what you ask. It does talk about uncertainty and deception and illusion, misunderstandings. There's a truth you cannot admit to yourself. So I think they're coming away from this. I don't know if they were deceptive. I think it's more like they are feeling like what he says isn't going to actually go. I think they already figured he's like lying, right? So they're already walking away from this. They'll be walking away from it like whatever. What he said probably won't even happen, which is what the world is used to. The world is used to Taterhead saying this, that, and the other, but those things actually don't happen, right? And I think that's how they feel the same way after this. The Ace of Wands, it's there's a new plan, there's a new enthusiasm coming in. I think they are making their own plans. So they have their own purpose after this. But and their purpose is a little bit more focused. So meeting with Taterhead causes them to kind of create a new purpose or find more understand more of the ground that they're on. I think Taterhead comes in not being as bombastic, but they still don't believe what he says, right? So, I think I think they I think it's gonna be okay for the United States as a country because, it's nothing too crazy happened. For Taterhead, he feels like he was reined in, which is fine. For the other G7 members, they don't believe a word he says. So that's really not unusual. The 2 of Swords, usually is talking about duality. Swords are double-sided. There's probably feel that there were agreements made, but they didn't feel like they had all the facts, and I think that comes from the deception. So I think they're feeling like they did come up and make some decisions about things, but they felt a little blindfolded about those decisions. So I think the other members are just kinda leaving thinking, "Yeah, whatever." There is no point to that. With each other, they're probably more aligned. Um, they're happy to have met with each other, but having Taterhead there, they're like, what's the point? There's no real point to meeting with him. So it's kind of like as Linda would say, a nothing burger. It's just a whatever. Everything that happened was probably pretty much what they were expecting, except they probably expected Taterhead to be a little bit more out of it than he was. They just realized, I think, seeing that King of Wands, they just see him as the old man that he is. So now, Taterhead, what is today? Today's June 16th. So between June 16th and July 16th. Now, let's just say this. For the rest of June, what's the rest of June look like for Taterhead? Lily's watching me. She has a lot of opinions on Taterhead. So rest of June, there's only what, 2 2 weeks left of June. What's the rest of June gonna look like for Taterhead? It's getting warmer today. It was really cold this morning, and then yesterday it was blazing hot. So that's the weather for you. Now it's getting hot again. And I don't have my air conditioner on. Rest of June for Taterhead. How's that looking? How's it looking for Taterhead? Last bit of June here. Last 2 weeks. 5 of Wands. Fives are pretty difficult cards. Usually when you have the 5 of Wands, you have a bit of a battle going on. The Chariot. Oh, that's a cool image. Look at that chariot. Mm. Movement. The 3 of Cups. 3 of Cups is usually like a celebration going on. And the 6 of Wands. 6 of Wands, that one was more about whenever I look at the 6 of Wands, I always think of the calmness before battle. So let's see how these work together. 5 of Wands, I think he's gonna be battling something this last couple of weeks. Could be health. Wands are about willpower, creativity, other world activities. talents, imagination, enthusiasm, attitudes, abilities. So there's some type of willpower battle going on, almost like he's trying to keep himself together, or people are trying to keep him together. But there's movement, there's not necessarily like change, but there is some type of movement going on. Let me just check for the chariot. I want some more keywords. Overcome obstacles, moving forward, channeling inner power, keep going on through hard work. So he's just, there's a battle keeping his willpower together, but he's just gonna keep on moving. What's what's interesting about this deck, right? Everybody looks dead, right? Though even the horse. And it's like he's just chugging along. He's just weekend at Bernie's. He's just pulling through. People are surprised he's still moving. So I think for June, he's still moving. Uh, Three of Cups does talk about some type of celebration. Let's see. Let me think. I'm trying to think of anything specifically coming up at the end of the month. Maybe more of his Freedom 250 celebrations. Still ongoing, probably. He's still going to be doing some type of rally or just doing his regular thing. I don't see anything surprising happening here. It's just him doing what he does. Six of Wands is a little bit quieter. So you had the battle. This is after the battle. I think by the end of the month, he's just going to be, I guess, relaxing is one word, or he's going to be taking it more easy after the celebrations. I'm curious what his July will be like because I feel like when I see the 6, it's like there's this resting, there's this tiredness. Like his enthusiasm is draining. I think his energy is falling. So I'm very curious to see how July will turn out for him. Maybe I'll do another reading for July. I probably should. Um because it's all I don't want to say this is like his last push in a way, but he had his birthday, he has his freedom celebration stuff, so that's what he's like focusing on. But at the end of the day, he's tired. His enthusiasm is dropping. His willpower is dropping. Maybe his levels of whatever in his blood is dropping, right? It's kind of like that nadir when you're getting treatment for cancer. It's like, I'm not saying that's what he's getting. I'm just using that as an example. You have those ups and down moments of your health, right? Throughout the month as you do your treatments. So I feel like the end of the month he's going to be very quiet, which seems to happen every month with him, right? There's like times where you don't hear about him. So I think he's going into another one of those times. What's happening during those times? I don't know. Maybe something health-wise, treatment for something. I don't know. But he's going to be quiet by the end of the month. So I am very curious about what July will bring. Hey, Noli. Noli, you want to say hello? Come here, Nolo. I'm going to get her on my lap and see if she'll come by and say hello. Yes, my little Noli. My little Noli, she has a little, oh, there she goes. She's got some arthritis, but she gets her monthly shots for her arthritis. Oh, wow. Thank you for joining us, Noli. It's so nice to see you. So I guess with that, the show is over. Thanks to Noel. My husband asked me who I was going to have as a special guest today. And I said, well, Noel has a lot to say about the Trump administration. And here you go. Yeah. You're like, that guy. Ugh. All right. So thank you for watching. Please leave any comments if you'd like me to read on anything. The World Cup posts are I'm having a lot of fun with that. I've had some good readings, I've had some readings that were off. So, it's I'm trying it out and I'm seeing how everything goes. I'm very curious. The readings on the actual teams themselves is very interesting. It's very difficult to figure out the win, lose, tie. Very difficult, that part. But the readings on the team themselves seem very accurate as per my husband, who is like the football World Cup expert as far as I'm concerned. So so it's very cool. And I do have another project coming up, that I've just thought of today that I'll start getting into, but I'm not gonna say what that is yet because it's brand new, brand new, brand new. All right, so thank you for watching. Say bye, Nono. He's my young Noni. She's such a cute. Yes, she is. She's so cute. Okay, Noli. Bye. Thanks for watching, everybody.